Hello everybody, I'm Ace of Nina, and let's get into the video. So for today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different than normal. I am not going to be reacting or reviewing to any specific show. Instead, I will be giving my opinion on the relationship pairings of the characters of the Umbrella Academy. This is not an exhaustive list. As of filming this video, I have not yet watched season 2. I probably won't be watching season 2 just because I really wanted them to go back in time to their childhood, and it just bugged me when they went back past their own childhood, so yeah. But yeah, as a result, I'm not going to be doing any of the pairings in season 2. So if you wanted Diego and Lila, or Vanya and her girlfriend, sorry, that's not going to be in here. Without further ado, let's jump into the ranking. Alrighty, so for this video, I will be going from most problematic to least. We love to see toxic relationships and issues on TV. Number 1, i.e. the worst one, Harold Jenkins and Vanya. No part of me liked this. I'm not gonna lie, initially, I did kind of like Leonard. He seemed like an okay guy, but he just kept getting creepier and creepier and creepier. And I mean, he's a literal serial killer who manipulated Vanya to separate her from her family, stalked her, murdered somebody so that she would get first chair in violin, and also seemed to have delusions of grandeur. He was also obsessed with her family and really wanted to be Reginald Hargreaves. That relationship was a no-go. Vanya was being lied to the entire time. She wasn't actually in a relationship. The person who she was in a relationship with didn't actually exist. Coming in at number 2, we have Allison and her ex-husband. More problematic things happening here. Literally no part of this relationship was real. Allison used her mind control powers to make this man believe that he was in love with her and not leave her until he finally caught her abusing her daughter by using the same thing on her. Sure, Allison repented by losing custody of her daughter and not using her rumoring powers anymore, but it was essentially mind rape and really creepy. No. Coming in at number 3, we have Luther and Allison is back at it again. On my first watch through of the show, I was tentatively a yes. It was cute, it was sweet and nice and very puppy love-like, and the dancing in the moonlight dance scene was beautiful, and it made me feel feelings for this relationship. But upon reflection, this is not a good one. Allison has grown up. She is a 30-year-old woman. She has already been married and divorced before. She has a child. She has a successful career, and she knows who she is outside of the Hargreaves family and outside of the Umbrella Academy. Luther, on the other hand, never was able to separate his identity from his father, even after his dad died. He was stuck on the moon for 5 years. He hasn't had a job. He hasn't really had a life outside of the Umbrella Academy. So he's extremely isolated and naive, and he's also pretty childlike in his black and white vision of things. He thinks that whatever his father decided was correct and everything else must be wrong. It's just not a good matchup. Also, I know that they're not actually related, but they were raised as siblings. It's weird. Like, if you have to say that, well, technically they're not related, there's a problem. Next up, we have number 4, I think? 5, and Dolores. Peak humor, great content. Every time he spoke to Dolores, it was hilarious, but it's also technically just 5 and himself. It's just like when you're talking to your subconscious, except for him, his subconscious is speaking back to him from a mannequin instead of just thoughts. Like, for comedy purposes, it's hilarious, but it's really just a reminder that that is a man trapped in a child's body who has gone practically insane from complete isolation and lack of anybody else to talk to in an apocalypse. Number 5 is 5 and the Handler. I've seen some fanfiction, and I would just like to say, why? Why are you doing this?
Stop it. Get some help.
That is all I'm going to say on that. Number 6 is Reginald Hargreaves and Mom. I know that they weren't in a relationship whatsoever. She was just sort of their like robot nanny caretaker because Vanya kept accidentally murdering the other nannies for giving her oatmeal. But the implications of her being mom and Reginald Hargreaves being dad is kind of gross. Number something, Diego and Patch. I wish there was more of this. Eudora was a boss. She was clearly very ready and willing and able to call Diego out on his shit and on his very blatant law breaking. Like, I know that they couldn't actually work out because he was a vigilante and she was a police officer, hence they couldn't actually be together while they were doing those jobs. But I wish we had gotten more backstory behind them, how they met, how they got together, what they were like together. I wish that Eudora hadn't been fridged and that she wasn't just murdered so that Diego could go on a revenge fantasy kick and go after the two assassins, Hazel and Cha-Cha. Was them trying to murder one of his brothers, breaking into his house, hurting more of his siblings, and torturing and almost murdering his other sibling not enough. His ex-girlfriend needed to die too for him to finally go on that revenge kick. I feel like this relationship had a lot more that could have been done with it, and it was just shelved for the sake of like wrapping up the story or so that Diego could have his reason for vengeance. And my final romantic relationship, i.e. my favorite romantic relationship, was Dave and Klaus. I loved everything about it. This relationship gave me life. I loved watching the flashbacks of them getting together in Vietnam and just becoming a couple. And because I love the relationship so much, it hurt me even more when Dave died. You could see and hear the pain in Klaus when he realized that he had died. And the first thing that I thought when I learned that they were going back in time to not their childhood and to like the 60s, 70s era was, oh my god, they can save Dave. But I am pretty sure that that does not happen. So instead, they have rewritten the future past, the past future, so that Dave and Klaus never actually met. Like, bring Dave back. Dave deserved better. Klaus deserved better. As you can see, Klaus is my favorite character of the show, hence the reason why I've decided to dress up like him for this video. Oh, and I almost forgot. Number 8, my favorite platonic pairing, Klaus and Ben. Ben was awesome. Even though he could have theoretically left Klaus at any point in time, he stuck with him throughout all of Klaus's ups and way more of his downs. He tried intervening every time Klaus relapsed, and he and Klaus also tag team saved the rest of the Hargreaves from the hired gunmen at the orchestra. He's pretty cool, and they're like a dope pairing. They're like a superhero duo team. My favorites, Klaus and Ben. The end. That is the end of this video. If you liked this video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to watch more of my content. I make new videos once or twice every week. Bye.